Ladies and gentlemen, now it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
Yeah. All right. Woo! All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. I am your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by the number one producer in late night. It's Dave Willimowski. Dave! Dave, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Yeah. I'm doing good. A little tired, as usual. A little burnout, but still having fun. How you doing?
That's all that matters. It's
yeah.
I tell you what, I wasn't planning on doing it, but we'll do a fortune cookie in the conclusion of tonight's show. And whatever it is, it's for you.
For me?
Tonight's fortune's for you. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I know.
I'm ready.
You got a whole hour now to just wonder what it's going to be.
I can't wait to see what it is.
Let me tell you guys, I have continued my journey. What the hell is that? What the hell was that? You did that during the pre-show, and I thought it was a joke. And actually, now the wrong thing has been ingrained into your
it's
motor reflexes.
It's triggered.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm triggered now. So
we're ready to go.
Yeah. So now we're ready to go. I have continued my journey, ladies and gentlemen, of trying to get back into writing. You know. Do a little OPED here and there. You know what it really is I gotten so tired of looking up stuff to talk about on the show that I just thought, I'm going to be the news I want to see in the world.
There you go.
I don't know, actually. That might not be good for any of us. But I wrote a new article that came out just today. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. For his 90th birthday, August 20th, 90th birthday for Ron Paul, defender of the powerless and critic of the powerful. Good looking guy right there.
Hell yeah. In
the political age that prizes charisma over conviction, Ron Paul's career stands out as a long series of principled no's. The Texas physician turned congressman won his first seat in 1976, lost it a few months later, then returned repeatedly to the House, always as an outsider and always carrying the same simple message. The federal government must be bound by the Constitution. Money must be sound. Markets must be free. And peace is a moral imperative. As he turns 90 today, it's worth revisiting how a soft-spoken obstetrician came to inspire a movement that outlived his political campaigns, and why he deserves to be counted among the most influential libertarians of the modern era. First of all, Paul's moral consistency is legendary. Born in Pittsburgh in 1935 and trained as a doctor, he actually served as a flight surgeon in the U.S. Air Force. Look at that strapping young fella right there. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Before establishing a medical practice in Texas. His early reading of Friedrich Hayek, Murray Rothbard, and Leonard Read convinced him that expansive government and fiat money were incompatible with liberty. When President Richard Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, Paul later wrote he knew, quote, "The stage was set for the 1970s inflation and for the political chaos that would follow. So he entered politics to champion sound money and limited government. Over more than 2 decades in Congress, he would never vote for a tax increase. Remember these at the end of all those videos? He would never vote for an unbalanced budget, and he never voted to raise congressional pay. Now, such obstinacy made him politically lonely, but it also gave him credibility. In his farewell address to Congress in 2012, he warned that Washington's spending bid rested on a bipartisan bargain. Quote, "One side doesn't give up 1 penny on military spending. The other side doesn't give up 1 penny on welfare spending, while both sides support the bailouts and subsidies for the banking and corporate elites." With typical understatement, he added that his 1976 goals to, quote, "promote peace and prosperity by a strict adherence to the principles of individual liberty remained unchanged. That fidelity allowed his admirers to call him Dr. No of the House with affection rather than disdain. Now, Paul's libertarianism begins with the text of the Constitution. In a 2011 speech titled True Fidelity to the Constitution, kind of gives away the argument there a little bit. He argued that Congress had, quote, just every conceivable expansion of the federal government by misinterpreting the General Welfare Clause, the Interstate Commerce Clause, and the Necessary and Proper Clause. I think we've talked about that the last week or two, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
Such distortions, he said, allowed members to treat the Constitution as a living document that they can bend to suit political expediency. What was the remedy? Paul insisted it's not civic cheerleading, but an honest reassessment of policy. No more wars without an actual declaration from Congress. Repeal the Federal Reserve Act. Respect gold and silver as legal tender. Abolish unconstitutional departments like education, commerce, homeland security, the Transportation Security Administration. Repeal the Patriot Act. He pointedly asked whether Americans possess the moral character to demand such changes and whether politicians have the courage to refuse special interest. I think we've unfortunately learned the answer to those questions.
Yeah.
Without love of liberty and respect for the rule of law, he warned, the Constitution is a worthless piece of paper. To him, enumerated powers were not a rhetorical flourish, but a bulwark against tyranny. While many conservatives argued that the General Welfare Clause authorizes vast spending, Paul reminded them that Article 1 lists only 18 federal powers and leaves education, retirement, health care, and more to the states or to the people. If fidelity to the Constitution is cranky, he mused, then so were James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, and George Washington. Yeah. Paul's libertarianism also rests on a classical understanding of markets. He published a column after Hurricane Sandy in 2012, and he defended so-called price gouging. When the government imposed gasoline price caps, he observed, miles-long lines formed and a black market flourished. Now, had gas stations been allowed to raise prices, those most in need would have bought fuel, and outside suppliers would have rushed in. He said, quote, prices perform an important role in providing information, coordinating supply and demand, and enabling economic calculation. Interfering with the price mechanism always leads to shortages, and no legislation can repeal the laws of supply and demand. Paul extends the same logic to money itself. In his very popular book, In the Fed, he explains that crowds chanted that not because he incited them, but because the Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air. It depreciates the dollar, and it has not prevented business cycles. Now, he argues that the Fed wields ominous power with no oversight, and that paper money is unconstitutional. Only gold and silver are legal tender. Inflation, he warns, is regressive. It benefits bankers and government contractors while hurting savers. It encourages protectionism. It finances wars. The solution, he believed, is to restore the free market in money, allow competing currencies, and gradually return to a gold standard. When central bankers and politicians have no ability to inflate, government must live within its means.
Yep.
Now, he applied his economic creed consistently. He opposed the bank bailouts in 2008. He also, again in 2020, he argued against corporate subsidies. He denounced deficit spending, regardless of which party was in power. Even when asked to back popular price controls, like the aforementioned gasoline or pharmaceuticals, he refused, explaining that such interventions misallocate resources and harm the poor. Unlike some libertarians who see a role for targeted regulation, Paul seldom deviated. His critics labeled him dogmatic, but his admirers called him principled. Now, no aspect of Paul's philosophy has generated more controversy than foreign policy. Now, while most of his Republican colleagues embraced interventionism, Paul called for non-intervention and invoked the Golden Rule. You'll remember this one. In 2007, Republican primary debate, it's the great Giuliani moment, when New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani denounced Paul for suggesting that U.S. foreign policy contributed to the 9/11 attacks. Unfazed, Paul asked Americans to imagine, how would you react if China crossed the ocean, demanded bases on U.S. soil, and tried to dictate American life, even if the Chinese had good intentions? We would all be together and we'd be furious, he said. The exchange illustrated his belief in blowback, that military interventions create unforeseen and often violent repercussions. Now, he first articulated this thesis during the Cold War. And in 2002, a House speech opposing the authorization of the use of force in Iraq, he noted that Iraq posed no threat to national security and that preemptive war would set a dangerous precedent. He warned that war without an act of aggression and without exhausting diplomatic options violated the just war doctrine. Echoing Madison, he reminded Congress that the executive branch is predisposed to war. History has vindicated his fears. The Iraq war cost trillions of dollars, destabilized the Middle East, and fueled global anti-American sentiment. Paul's anti-war stance is inseparable from his defense of civil liberties. Also in 2011, a speech at the Conservative Political Action Conference at CPAC, he lambasted the Patriot Act as, quote, the destruction of the Fourth Amendment. He argued that fiscal conservatives should look critically at U.S. support for dictators. In Egypt alone, Washington spent $70 billion propping up then dictator Hosni Mubarak, only to see his regime toppled and the money siphoned into Swiss accounts. He described foreign aid bluntly as taking, quote, money from the poor people in a rich country and giving it to the rich people in a poor country. He called for friendships and trade while avoiding entangling alliances. Paul lamented that the United States maintained troops in 135 countries and 900 military bases and insisted always that it was time to bring the troops home. Critics accuse Paul of isolationism, but he responds that non-intervention is not isolation. Trade, travel, diplomacy, cultural exchange, all these flourish in peacetime. He notes that the Soviet Union collapsed because of economic failure, not because the United States fought a land war in Eastern Europe. Heavy military spending weakens the economy. It fosters debt. It expands the state. Again, as he told CPAC attendees, many conservatives will not cut a penny of military spending, but the military is not the same as defense. President Dwight Eisenhower himself warned of the military-industrial complex. Paul's messaging alienated many Republican voters. During a 2012 South Carolina debate, and I tell you, this is the one that got my blood boiling the most, he urged the audience to apply the golden rule. Treat other nations as we would want them to treat us. And he quipped that if Americans do not want others to ban, say, U.S. oil, then they should not ban Iran's. And what did they do after he used the term golden rule? That audience of Republican lobbyists booed him. The conservative electorate jeered at Paul, and Texas Governor Rick Perry joked that the moderator should cut him off with a gong. Yet the moment became an emblem of his courage. Among those candidates, he alone dared to apply a moral principle to foreign policy. But for his supporters, those exchanges are badges of honor. Paul stood on the same stage as the frontrunners. He refused to parrot applause lines about American exceptionalism, and he quoted Jesus' admonition from the Sermon on the Mount to treat others as we would wish to be treated. His critics called him naive. His defenders noted that past presidents, as diverse as John Quincy Adams and Eisenhower, made similar points. That he was jeered by his own party speaks not to his wrongness, but to the state of political discourse. Paul's critics like to portray him as a doctrinaire, but his morality is rooted in empathy. He opposes war because it kills innocence. It breeds resentment. He opposes the draft because it treats young people as property of the state. He opposes asset forfeiture because it strips citizens of property without due process. He opposes drug prohibition because it cages nonviolent offenders and fuels racial disparity. His stance against civil asset forfeiture, drug war, the draft, these are not pragmatic, these are principled positions. Because government should not coerce unless an individual violates the rights of another. This defense of the powerless extends to financial policy. Paul notes that inflation, the deficits, the bailouts are hidden forms of taxation that punish the poor. When Congress authorizes spending it cannot fund through taxes, the Federal Reserve monetizes the debt, the resulting price inflation reducing the purchasing power of wages and savings. By contrast, those close to the Federal Reserve, the banks and the corporations receiving cheap credit, now they'll profit. Paul thus frames central banking as a form of class warfare. Ron Paul is not a typical politician. He was a moral philosopher who happened to hold office. His critics mocked him consistently for his voting record, called him cranky and quixotic, but the record testifies to a rare integrity. He opposed war when both parties cheered it on. He condemned the Federal Reserve when few understood it. He warned about surveillance long before Edward Snowden. He criticized corporate welfare, and he rejected the false choice between safety and liberty. He treated opponents with civility, even when dismantling their arguments. He inspired a movement without demanding a following. In an era of shifting positions and pragmatic compromises, he stands as a model of uncompromising ethical consistency. That is why, as he celebrates his 90th year, the libertarian movement he galvanized continues.
And applause that I don't have.
I mean, you do. It's
Great.
yeah. Yeah. Yay, me. That's me.
Yay, you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Give myself a. Yeah, look at you. You did it. I clapped on time, says Celeste. Well, and that's all that matters. Whew. I need a drink. I'm a little parched all of a
give
sudden.
yourself a minute.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, Alan.
What time is it?
It's time for meme of the week.
He still lets Dave press buttons?
Not after this week.
Can you?
Wow. That was a little rough. But we do have a bonus meme. Check out the bonus meme.
Can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot turn a canvas into a beautiful masterpiece?
It's extra good because Will Smith is black. Oh, God. Oh. I see you over there, Dave. Let's, how are we doing on time? Hey, well, look at us. We're doing surprisingly good on time.
Right.
Well, bad news for us because we have an absolute ton of viewer mail to answer. Take it away. Beep. It's just the right subtle racism, you know? All right. Keith McQuarrie writes, Dear Alan and Dave, do you prefer spicy sausage or mild? Wait, you like a little spicy sausage, Dave?
Well, yeah. I mean, I if I'm just gonna, for me, it's gonna be spicy, and normally it is just for me. Like I'll buy it with the family in mind, so I'll get the mild, and then nobody eats it. So sometimes I just.
So what you're saying is that normally when you're getting it, it's not spicy, but if it's for you, it's gonna be spicy.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know, a little pepper, a little zing in there. Make omelets, make sandwiches. Oof.
Ooh, yeah.
Now I'm in pain again. I'm so hungry.
Just thinking about it.
Josh Wright writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what is your go-to fun fact? Dave, give us a fun fact.
A pumpkin is a fruit.
I mean,
that's a new one. I was just looking up everything that is a fruit that you don't think is a fruit.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah.
Peas. Yeah.
That's fruit. Right. That's right, Justin. Dave likes his sausage on the hot side. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that if you took all the elephants on Earth and you stacked them up in a line between here and the moon, all the elephants would die?
Yeah. Because the weight on the bottom one, and then the fall, the impact of the top one hitting the ground. Yeah, that makes sense.
Brooke Atkinson writes, Dear Alan and Dave, if you had the choice to travel back in time and become a founding father, but if you do, a modern Joseph Stalin spawns in our current time, do you time travel? You can tell the people in the audience who've seen the show. You know? You can tell, because it's always a similar question, just they just move the words around a little bit to make you think you're answering a different question. But of course, that modern Joseph Stalin, of course, the answer is, how hot is she?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe
okay.
it's a Josephine.
Yeah.
Mm.
Might be worth it.
Yeah.
Might be worth it.
Justin Campbell writes, Dear Alan and Dave, imagine the people who tuned in for the Ron Paul bit now, right? Like they're...
Yeah. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
What is this?
Unsubscribe. Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Justin Campbell writes, Dear Alan and Dave, is it over-the-top screaming, annoying character better as the main protagonist or as a secondary, complementary character? So you can always tell the people in the audience who are watching the shows. You see?
I'm not.
It's just a disease, Dave. It's just, we're going to get you.
It's spreading, yeah.
It's coming for you. We're going to get you.
I don't know.
It's only, hold on. I know we're short on time, but 38 days remain, Dave. 38 days.
Oh, there's something I'm supposed to do.
I mean, that sounds like a lot, but for you, that's like 15 minutes to watch that show.
Yeah, free time.
Yeah. All right. Watch it on like 4 times speed. You'll probably pick it up.
Yeah.
Corey Durst writes, Dear Alan and Dave, have we had any presidents who didn't go to Israel to kiss that stupid wall? Well, Israel was created in like, what, 1948, I think? So I would assume that the presidents before then didn't do that.
Is it a new wall? I don't know the history of the wall. Like, was the wall right there?
It's the Wailing Wall. It's where they, I don't know. I mean, these are the people who suck babies' penises when they get circumcised. Yeah. I'm not.
They got that wire around Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So weird.
Justin, just enjoy the show. Yeah. Sorry, I'm scolding the audience because they're upset with our answers. Look, we're running short on time. Just give us a break.
We got to keep it moving.
Aaron Kettner writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what TV show series finale was done the best? Dave, your favorite series finale?
Oh, Alf.
Really?
No, it just popped into my head. I don't even remember how that ended.
Let's address this in the after party, because I'm not going to allow you to derail this perfect episode we have going with your bullshit. Aaron's, it's Cowboy Bebop, obviously. Gary Dykstra writes, Dear Alan and Dave, if you could be GM of your favorite football team, who would be the 2 or 3 players you would trade for to give your team a legit chance at going to the Super Bowl? Well, see, Gary, the thing about being a GM in the NFL is that just because you get to be the GM doesn't mean you just get to pick players around the league and say, oh, those are mine. Yeah, it's not Secret Santa where like you're like the Bengals went before you, but I'm next, so I get Joe Burrow. That's not how it works. Yeah. I don't know, Dave. We'll that sounds like another after party thing, but I'm gonna tell you, Dave is just gonna pick 20 new defensive players. All the ones they got now are no good.
Ooh.
Just you'll trade your whole defense
not the real team
for somebody else's. That's all right.
Whoever.
Ryan Seifert writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what is your favorite street drug? Now I'm going to assume Ryan means over the counter. Ryan. It's over the counter drug, not that he didn't mean street drug. I don't think.
Must be some slang.
Yes, I mean ibuprofen. I guess I don't. Maybe Tylenol or something.
That stuff works. Yeah, ibuprofen. I use that a lot. Old man.
Yeah. Hunter Dorenzis writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what do you like most about me? It used to be your mustache, but I feel it's been trimmed. I suspect something's amiss. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't talk. I shaved. I gave up.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah. It's too old.
5 years younger. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? We're gonna repeat that thing from a few years ago where I disappear from you for a week and I come back and I'm just a totally different person. And then you start to wonder if this was the same person as the whole time or
yeah. I don't pay a lot of attention.
We'll get to her question in a minute. Celeste Annis writes, Dear Alan and Dave, have you ever eaten a Kringle? I looked this up. A Kringle is like this Danish giant stuffed pretzel baked good with like nuts or fruit and stuff in it. Like think of a giant circular pretzel cinnamon bun with like just shit in it. And the answer's first no. And I haven't even had one of those pierogies yet. Yeah. So let's start. Awesome. Let's start there. Yeah. Andrew Avery writes, Dear Alan and Dave, in honor of Trump's meeting with Putin, are Russian nesting dolls full of themselves? Derek T writes, Dear Alan and Dave, do you think the evidence matches the fantastic claims with UAPs, UFOs, interdimensional demons? ? I know for a fact we got some demons. I know I got some, and I know they're around. Yeah. They're around, but as Dave can testify, Dave will tell the truth. I know he will. Dave can tell you guys, I said right before this show started, through Christ all things are possible. And finally this evening, Mary Lynn Wilimowski writes, Dear Alan and Dave. You see Dave nervously looking at his notes because I left her question off. Just a little meta in there. When you're driving and another driver does something dumb, do you respond in a passive-aggressive way, a totally aggressive way, or not at all? Dave, you got some road rage stuff going on?
I am like the master of passive aggression, but on the road, I feel like I don't respond. I just stay stoic, unless I feel like they did it on purpose, and then I might get a little passive aggressive.
I get it now. The question is because you don't respond, you just bring it home.
Share it with the family.
Yeah, you guys. Let me tell you what happened, guys. We're gonna be back with the single off of our friend AnCap Tim's debut album, The State's Just a Mafia. Right after this commercial break. Go away.
Back roads at midnight, the people gather round. No permits, no taxes, no badges to be found. A handshake seals the deal, no decree. A voluntary exchange between the seller and me. There's no coercion here, no theft to pay at dawn. Just people trading freely, the world rolling on. You want your goods untaxed, your medicine unchained. No one's forcing prices, the market unrestrained. Black markets are better. It's freedom on demand. No gatekeepers needed. No rulers in command. Volunteerism thrives where the underground flows. The state can't stop it. Where the black market grows. That homemade shine burns harder. The store-bought gin and the backwoods butcher cuts, they taste better going in. The local honey's got flavors to explore, and that homegrown smoke, you know it hits deeper than the store. Black markets are better. It's freedom on demand. ever sold. No pain exchange for profit, no horrors, no blindfolds. It's food and meds and barter, no victims of crimes. Just neighbors helping neighbors, one deal at a time. Black markets are better. It's freedom on demand. No gatekeepers needed. No rulers in command. Volunteerism thrives where the underground flows. The state can't stop it. Where the black market grows.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Our guest this evening is a singer-songwriter musician out of Virginia, if you know, you know, whose debut album, The State's Just a Mafia, can't, a little on the nose there, is out now. You can pick it up at AnCapTim.com. AnCap Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here.
So
Thank you for having me.
Well, absolutely. I'm glad you're here. I'm sure the audience just enjoyed your hit new single that everyone just got a chance to see. I'm assuming that was out on the porch there in the great state of Virginia. Am I right about that?
Exactly right. Yep.
So
On the front porch.
I don't know how different, different kind of South things are in Virginia compared to here in Tennessee. We call that picking and grinning. Were you picking and grinning?
Yeah, I'm not too much picking going on my end, more strumming and grinning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as a musician myself, I have to ask, I assume you didn't just pick up music yesterday, so you've probably been playing music for a little while now. What is sort of the mental exercise of when you're, was this you felt like this was the right time to drop this album with obviously the kind of material that's on it and the subjects that you're covering, or was it more of this is stuff that's been accumulating for a while, I just want to get it out there? Was there a particular catalyst that made you just say, no, this is it, it's time?
A little bit of both. I've had some of these songs for quite a while, just on my phone and a notepad that I've been working on. Really 2020 with the COVID bull,
sure,
that really got me writing more, just as an outlet, just to, I was an angry person during those days, so it was good to, yeah. So yeah, but then I started sharing some of these songs with people, just some rough demos, and most of the people that I shared them with were like, you ought to do something with this, even if you just put it out on streaming, just do it. And so I was like, okay, well then I can't just put these rough demos out. I'm too much of I'm a studio guy by trade. I do mixing and edits for people.
Okay.
And so, I want my stuff to sound good. So, I kind of then started the process of recording my own stuff and editing and mixing everything, even mastered it, which I don't normally do, but it was just one of those things where I was like, I've got my hat and everything, might as well just do it all. And so, yeah, that was the process. I've had these ideas for quite a while. And over the last, especially with COVID in the last year or so, I just felt like, hey, just if it's only for me, I'm just going to put these things out there. It's just like any artist. You just want to share your art with people.
Oh, I definitely hear you with that. I've told people many times that, I love music. It's not that I don't, but I've never been the kind of musician who took a lot of joy in just sitting at my house playing guitar. I need to feel like I'm preparing for something, like I'm getting ready to go perform. I want to share this with other people. Like I've heard it. I already know what I sound like. Of course, we're always our own worst critic, right? So I'm like, look, I know I suck. I don't need to hear me anymore. I'll get someone else to hear me and make them share in the same misery as I have. But okay, so you mentioned, you're a professional audio engineer then. I feel like that I maybe have a little bit of the opposite effect that you have, which is, if someone else comes to me and says, Alan, can you collaborate with me on this to make this sound good or look good? I want to create something. Then I'm always like, man, I want to do a good job. I want to put my name on this. I want them to be happy, right, with what I provided.
Sure.
But then sometimes when it comes to my own stuff, I'm like, whatever, just get the shit out there. I'm lazy, I'm bored, whatever. So then you would say that you've got a little bit of that perfectionist in you.
A little bit. My wife would say no. But
okay.
But I think so. Musically, I think she would agree that, yeah, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. Maybe not with things like keeping the house straight. She would disagree. But yeah, musically, and I guess that goes with the musician thing too. Yeah, you want to do your best. I'm not the best musician. I'm not the best singer, but you want to at least give your best performance, especially when you're going to put something on tape and put it out there for people to see. So yeah, definitely some perfectionist attributes come out when you're working on an album.
Well, one thing I did want to kind of get through the musical evolution here. I'm always interested to speak with other musicians and say, when you were 16 trying to impress girls, or 18 or 20 or whatever, what were you playing then versus, what you played maybe when you got a little bit older and that sort of thing. I always tell the story to people that when I was that age, John Mayer was brand new. And I was like, well, I got to learn every John Mayer song so that way I can get laid. That's what I got to do. But then as I got a little bit older, I realized that if I was playing jazz, I got claps. And if I was playing John Mayer, I got golf claps, kind of like a good for you. You tried, and it's kind of like sometimes the audience informs us like, this is what you need to be doing. Maybe it wasn't on the top of your list, but maybe you should reconsider because something about it speaks to you or speaks to people or whatever. So where did you start? What was your kind of musical evolution?
Yeah. All right. I wasn't trying to get girls. I probably should have. But no, I was mainly just grew up in church, and my uncle taught me to play the bass guitar. That was the first instrument I learned on. I would play in church. And so my audience, my people that would actually clap for you were church people. So, and sometimes they could be good encouragement. And so that really helped me kind of get started in music, playing the bass. Then I moved on to playing the keyboards. Then a little bit later in life, I kind of picked up guitar, just because I've always been a singer, always sang in church, and went on the road with a Christian band as well for about 3.5 years before COVID, and COVID killed that.
Sure.
But so I've always sung, but doing songwriting, it's like, I need to learn how to play a guitar. It just kind of goes with the whole singer songwriter vibe, and if you go to bars and different places and play, there's not always going to be a piano there, but you can always bring a guitar. So it's like, I need to sit down and learn this. So just kind of school of hard knocks in the church is really where I've kind of cut my teeth musically, definitely vocally, just all live. You learn on Sunday morning in front of a crowd. You bomb, you know it, and you get better the next time. So that was kind of where I learned to form my vocals and whatnot.
Well, at least if you're trying out new material in church, you won't have a beer bottle thrown at you. That's
true.
Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know what church you go to. Hey.
Well, yeah. Some churches, some cowboy churches, maybe.
So the performance you just gave everybody was Where the Black Market Grows, but I wanna quickly read through some of these titles. So there's The State of Affairs. The album is The State's Just a Mafia, which everyone can get. Your website, ancaptim.com. Memes, The Cryptocurrency Blues, Rothschild Rag. Oh, I gotta click on that one now. Wheels of War, Ballad of Lysander Spooner, No King But Christ. That's not all. That's just a selection of a side A and side B. So which kind of, so that the audience kind of gets an idea of where, you know, where this is coming from. This is something that I've always kind of been stuck on, and maybe you can give me some inner workings, some behind the scenes. I've always thought to myself, you know, maybe it would be cool to take some of the things that I'm passionate about and then try to distill those things into music. But I can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't know, you know, maybe I've just spent a lifetime listening. Every song's about, you know, boy meets girl, right? You know, it's like and it's like, how can I take ideas in my head that I want to talk about, but express it in song and it not be cringy and retarded? I can't do it. I'm just not that level of songwriter. But you've got a whole album covering a lot of things that I know people that are in the liberty movement side of the political spectrum, and oh boy, are they on the spectrum. They these titles resonate with them. They're already thinking, oh, I bet I know what this is about. You know, I want to hear this. So how do you do that? How do you take the passions in your life and you're distilling them into songs?
Well, as you said, if you're not careful, it can be kind of cringy. And some of my stuff might be, hopefully the stuff that is a little on the cringy side is a little more not so serious, little tongue in cheek, you know, like memes. I mean, it's a parody of a Motley Crue song. I'm not taking myself too serious there. It's at the height of my vocal range. Hair band would not be my style of music. But I love memes. And I was like, I don't know. I was listening to Motley Crue one day and I was like, that would be a great song to just make a parody out of. So a lot of these things are just fun ideas that I wanted the album to be fun, but I also wanted to drive home certain points. One of the kind of, it's got a Grateful Dead feel to it. Real kind of folky, called Good Ideas. I mean, that is the real message that I'm trying to just send to people is that good ideas don't require force. You know, and so that's a very basic concept, but I was like, I've never really heard a song about that. So some of my thinking is just like, let's take basic concepts, almost like how Sunday school does basic concepts for kids, you know, Jesus loves me, this I know, you know, and do more middle of the road type music around these things. Because some of these concepts that I have on the album, plenty of people have done, but it's been more of the maybe heavier type music or hard rock, where I've just never been able to pull that off. So I was like, maybe there is some people out there that want to hear a liberty message, but yet in a more middle of the road, you know, more rock, pop, folk, maybe a tad of country. So that, you know, that was my thinking of, I want to do this. I want to spread the message of voluntary exchange and peace. But yeah, it's a fine line of, you know, I don't want to make nursery rhymes. Sure. But yet I do want to get a point across. But that's why I tried to, you know, weave in some of the fun stuff too, to where I'm not taking myself that seriously. But the ideas I think are serious, and I think they speak for themselves, and hopefully they come through pretty good. Yeah, like you said, the title of the album is pretty on the nose. In the first song, State of Affairs, the hook is what the album's called. The state's just a mafia. So that one, I don't think you have to search too hard for the meaning. But
Well, I know, like, as it pertains to music, kind of more from an industry perspective, it's like everybody has this belief that, well, you've got to fit into a mold, right? Like that general audiences have this expectation, and when they look at you and when they hear your tone, they're like, well, this needs to conform to a certain style or brand. You've actually got a variety of different kind of stuff here on the album. And and maybe this is more of like a geographic niche thing for us, but it's like, just because you have, say a deeper Southern accent, that doesn't mean it's Alan Jackson. It's like you're not forced to play Tim McGraw because you have a Southern accent. That's not the way it works. But there's people out there that when they see you and they hear you and you're warming up, they think, oh, that's what this is. They start to make those connections mentally. And so I think in some ways it's interesting to hear very eclectic kinds of things, but then in other ways it can be difficult at the same time to sort of break out of a mold and say, well, look, this isn't Taylor Swift. It's not going to be exactly what you expect to hear. This is going to be something different. Right. And yet at the same time, they say there's, nothing new under the sun. Everything's been done. Right. It's like, well, how do you kind of overcome that barrier of, maybe you're right, maybe everything has been done, but this is me doing it. And so I'm hoping that, because it's me doing it and because it's presenting ideas that are near and dear to my heart, that's going to kind of break out of that expectation, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And that was really a lot of my thinking behind this. And I wanted an album, like one of my favorite songwriters of all time is Billy Joel. I actually do a parody of one of his songs. We Didn't Start the Fire. I did We Didn't Start the Scheming, and it goes through the history of the United States, basically, and all of the mostly proven conspiracy theories that we have seen come to light over the years. And we didn't start the scheming. It's always been here. Because I think some people have this idea that America was this. I'm not saying America wasn't better than others, but that America was like this perfect example of what a nation should be, and but yet we had the Alien and Sedition Acts, the Whiskey Rebellion, all these things right off the bat. Maybe the Articles of Confederation was better, but so I wanted a song that would kind of wrap in all of the history of America. And, so I said that to say this, that stylistically, yeah, I am kind of all over the page. But one of my favorite artists is kind of the same way. He would have a doo-wop album, and the next he'd have like the Glass Houses album was just pretty rock and roll, and then he'd have ballads. So I always personally respected someone who could do different genres and do them halfway well. And I don't like the idea of being like pigeonholed in a certain genre. Like you have to be this, I want to be a little bit of rock. I want to be a little bit of folk. I want to be a little bit of even country. That's just the type of music I listen to. And so when I make music, I want to have that same variety that I have personally in my own taste. And
sure. Well, let's maybe as a good sort of segue question to kind of bridge the gap here between the just purely artistry, the music side of things, and the political side of things. I mean, start off with this one before we kind of do a brief dive into the political angle. How do you draw the line? And maybe there is no line. I don't know. How do you draw the line between, I'm working on this project, it's meant to be a project for music, versus I'm working on this project, it's meant to express ideas. It's like, it's like, imagine like you have a slider bar and all the way to the right is it's just a rhythmic reading of Conceived in Liberty by Murray Rothbard. And if you slide it all the way to the left, it's just, bubblegum pop. It's like, so where are you drawing that line when you're trying to think, well, where's the right place for me to write this in such a way that I can hook the people on the musical side, but I can also get the message across that I want to say?
Yeah. It's got to sound good. you know, and it's got to be appealing to the ears. It's got to have a good melody, a catchy hook. So you have to have that off the bat before you can even try to weed any or wind any ideology of libertarianism or voluntary exchange in there. You have to at least, you know, like you said, you don't want to just read something to a rhythmic beat. You know, it needs to, you need to have a little bit of an ear candy to it. And hopefully I do. But yeah, I think growing up in church, because all church music has an ideology to it. I mean,
it has a message.
It's pushing a message. It's pushing in an agenda. And so, yeah, when I first kind of showed this project to some people, that was some of them were kind of standoffish. They were like, I just don't like music to be so, ideal. You know, I don't want it to push an ideology. You know, I just want music to be music. I'm like, well, okay. But a lot of music does push an ideology. And so, yeah, if you want music to not be that, then AnCap Tim's not going to be your guy. But if you care about these principles of voluntary exchange and good ideas do not require force and taxation is theft, and you like more middle of the road music, then, you know, I might be your guy. But I guess that church background is what led me to this, you know, and it's what I think it leads a lot of people to activism. You know, I mean, they want to spread these ideals and these ideas to other people. And I think just as the church has used music really successfully in spreading the message of Christ, like I think us in the Liberty community are maybe missing out on that. I don't think it's a detriment to our message to wrap it in song. I think it's good. I think the more media that we have for our message, the better.
We live in such an interesting time because we know it's a very polarizing time politically. It certainly is in this country. I'm sure it is all over the world. And it's interesting. You use the word agenda in there, and a lot of people, when they hear that, it kind of has a negative connotation, like, oh, they've got an agenda. And it's like, yeah, but who doesn't? You know, it's not inherently a negative thing. You know, you were describing the church, and I know you didn't mean it in a negative way. You meant it in a positive way. Or in a matter of fact way. Like, look, this is just the reality. It's got a message, and it's one of those things where you'll hear a lot of people on social media or on the street say, you know, I used to like so and such actor, show, whatever, but then it got all political. And it's like, you know, I bet it was probably always that way. And it was either you didn't notice, or maybe it wasn't as heavy-handed, to be fair. Maybe it wasn't. Or maybe it was you agreed with it until you didn't. Sometimes I wonder with people, it's like, okay, do you not like politics in your art? Or do you just not like those people's politics in your art, right? I bet if it was seeing a message that you 100% agreed with and you thought was going to, you know, give a moral rebirth to America, suddenly you wouldn't have such a problem with it. So I kind of question people's motives a bit when they say, oh, I used to like this, but now it got political. It's like, yeah, I don't think everything suddenly got political in 2020 and since. I think it's been around for a while.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, protest songs have been around since the beginning of music. And that's what you could call this album. It's a protest of the state.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'll hit you one more before we start to wrap up here. So the album, we've talked about it already. AnCapTim.com, new album. The state's just a mafia. It is available now. It's also available on a lot of different mediums. Not cassette. Unfortunately, we talked about that in the pre-show. It's not available on cassette, all of you weird hipsters, but it's available a lot of other ways. Tell people about it.
It's available on streaming, of course. I've got some music videos on YouTube. It's available on vinyl, which is cool. I've always wanted to be
awesome
on vinyl. You know, I mean, it's just it's just you got the great feel to put a record on. You hear yourself. It was so cool. And it's on CD, and it's the CDs that I grew up with, that like in the late 90s, where you could get the CD and you'd open it up, and then the CD would be on the right, but on the left you would have maybe a booklet, and you'd pull it out and it would have all the lyrics, and you could flip through and be like, oh, this is what he's saying here, you know. especially in the 90s alt rock where you didn't know what they were saying. So it's got a little of a nostalgia feel to it as well. So CD, vinyl, on streaming, YouTube, on all the socials and all that.
All right, fantastic. Well, we got to get you out of here on this one. Are you ready for the bonus round?
Okay, I guess.
Is a vanilla soy latte a 3-bean soup?
Ooh. Vanilla soy latte.
Is a vanilla soy latte a 3-bean soup?
Where's the third bean? I know vanilla, soy, latte. Oh, coffee. Yeah. If it's made with real vanilla beans, I'm going yes.
You're going yes. Vanilla soy latte is a 3-bean soup. You're saying yes.
Sure.
That is correct. A vanilla soy latte is indeed a 3-bean soup. AnCap Tim is now 1-0 on the It's Too Late Food Challenge. There's some poor sacks that have been on here many times and haven't gotten a single question right yet, Tim. So you are now among the currently list of undefeated guests. AnCap Tim,
Nice.
Final word. Is there anything you want to plug or share with the audience before we go?
Just, hey, if you want to help me out, pull me up on Spotify, pull me up on Apple Music, whatever your streaming platform of choice is, and just, you don't even have to listen to it. Just play it and put it in the other room. Just let it play. Pull me up on YouTube and let it play halfway through the video at least, and then cut me off. Things like that help, and I much appreciate it.
Well, we're big believers around here of when everybody says, I'm bored, there's nothing to watch, there's nothing to listen to, everything sucks, everything's political. It's like, well, our people do deliver those things, but you have to go out and support them. Otherwise, imagine that, they go away. I know this is... It's amazing that all of us free market people don't understand the concept that if they don't support an artist in their community, they go away. Imagine that. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
AnCap Tim, thanks for being on the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Guys, we're going to be back to wrap up the show right after this commercial break. Don't go away. If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley. Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. You can follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. Subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. But if you're more of a listener than a watcher, you get us on your favorite podcasting platform of choice thanks to Spotify. It's Too Late with Alan Mosley or Alan Mosley TV. It's been so long, Dave, since I've done the read that I almost forgot. What are our channels, y'all? Please tell us.
None of them are right.
I can't forget. Shit. All right, we're totally out of time here, guys. We got to do this. Dave, go ahead. Go ahead. Guys, thank you so much for watching another episode today. We'll see you next week. Hit the button. Jesus. All right. Are we doing an after party? We're going to do an after party. Yeah, real quick. We're going to be out real quick. Okay, Dave. Time makes one wise. Ask advice from someone older than you. I think the fortune cookie said you're a retard. I don't know. Let's read that back. Okay, time makes one wise. Ask advice from someone older than you. Yeah. Well, it's not old enough. You're